Hi everyone, I'm Kendrick and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to the second crash course for Career Development Month. Hello to our Facebook Live audience. This is the first time UP Capes is holding this event. For the month of November, we will be having different initiatives to equip engineering students for their future careers. Please stick around because we have so much in store for you today. This year's crash courses are all about honing practical skills. Through Career Development Month, we will all have the chance to learn foundations of our topics of interest and even gain skills that can be applied to our future careers. Today, we will be learning about stock market investing. But before we start, I'd like all of us to look back when UP Capes launched its year-long campaign last September. Small but consistent steps are essential to any career development journey. Career Development Month is one such step that can help you gain relevant career skills, ultimately taking you one step closer to your dream career. So before we get one step closer to our talk today, we would like to remind everyone to please stay until the end of the program for the stock market investing activity. And throughout the talk, feel free to comment or react to this video. All right, I'm sure we're all excited to learn about stock market investing already. With that, let us now introduce our speaker for today. Ms. Sheena Lorenzo is a global portfolio manager with a focus on the US, Japan, and the Hong Kong equity markets. She's been an active trader in the stock market since her college days. While graduating magna cum laude from UP Diliman, she's always been an advocate for financial literacy in the country, from being the co-chairperson for UPJFA's first Philippine Financial Summit in 2017 until today as a financial literacy spokesperson for COL Financial Group Incorporated. Now, without further ado, here's our speaker, Ms. Sheena Ann Lorenzo, to take on the virtual stage.
Hello guys, so I'm Sheena Lorenzo and today I'm representing COL Financial and I want to teach you as much as I can about the stock market. So it's just a quick 30 minutes, but I hope you learn a lot. Okay, so let's start. So here's my story. So how did I find the stock market? Was it really something I wanted since I was a kid? So it all started in UP. In UP, we like joining orgs, right? So I just joined this org. It's called UPJFA. It's an org in BA. And then our app processes in UP are really hard, right? So there's a lot of required events. So it's just one of those required events. So it was a stock market seminar, and that one started me. That one, it was like a light bulb moment for me, and it started how I fell in love with the stock market. So even in school, sometimes I don't listen in class anymore. I just had my laptop like this. I wasn't taking notes. I was just trading the whole day. And then even after school, I usually hang out with other traders and we talk about it and then we learn together. So it was really no surprise that I ended up here when I started working also. So that's it. Today I'm with COL Financial and we do the stock market talks to educate people, and my main job is with Cedar side, which is the global markets, the global stock market. So basically my life revolves around the stock market. All right? Okay. So this is the presentation. So it's just 3 questions: a why, what, and how. So number 1, why? Why are we here? Why did we click on this link? Why are we watching this video when we can do other things, right? And even why do people invest in the stock market? Why do they spend time? They can be investing in other stuff. Why the stock market, and why here? Why listen now? So that's a question. And then the next one would be a what. What is the stock market? The basic question. And then the last one would be the how. How can I invest in the stock market? How do I start? How do I know what to learn? How do I know when to sell, buy, and all those questions? All right, so we will revolve around these questions. Okay, so number 1 is our why. We're very Simon Sinek here. We always start with our why. So why did you spend time here? The kids just told me that engineering students don't do class incentives pala. So I thought some people are just clicking because of class incentives. But then no pala, this is very voluntary. So I'm very proud of you guys. You should also be proud of yourself that you're actually spending time here when you could be doing other stuff. You could be scrolling through Twitter or whatever, but you're actually here trying to learn. So congratulate yourself on that. So I asked a lot of people, why are you interested in the stock market? Why did you click on this link? Bakit kayo na-intriga? Stock market, what is this really? When I ask this to people, what they usually tell me is they want to get rich. It's simple, right? It's the common. When we hear the stock market, we feel like, only rich people play that. Maraming pera dyan. That's what we hear. So a lot of people use the stock market as an avenue to reach financial independence. Financial independence, it's one of those buzzwords that when people try to inspire, right? Even those financial consultants, when they sell insurance, it's really financial independence that they sell. So what is financial independence? Why are we trying to reach for it? So financial independence, it's not just wanting to have 10 sports cars, 5 houses, and all that. That's not exactly financial independence. It can be very different for different kinds of people. For one person, it can be building a retirement home for his parents. For another person, it can be sending your siblings to school. Or you can be a simple person like me. For me, it's simple. It's basically walking into a restaurant and ordering whatever I want and not even looking at the menu for the prices because I am confident that I can pay for it without any significant repercussion. That's it. That's the basic financial independence for me. So the stock market, it doesn't need to be capitalista. It doesn't need to be all those greedy and all those misconceptions. It can be an avenue for us to reach our goals, our financial independence. Okay? So here are just some memes because I really like memes, and this has been going around for a while.
Did you
Did you
hear
hear
it?
it? So the audio is not working, but I think you're very familiar with this video. It's been going around. So it's basically Heart Evangelista saying she only has 60 pesos in her wallet. So it was really shared around. And then also these TikToks, and then even these stuff on Twitter. So a lot of people share it. And I don't think you really need to go into deep statistics in order to actually know what's really out there, what's the situation of people. You just go to Twitter and then type their sweldo. So when you type sweldo, you can read these kinds of tweets. It says, sweldo, where are you? And then people incurring that even before they get sweldo, or their sweldo being super fast in the 11/11 Lazada or Shopee sale. It's everywhere, right? And then people actually share it and they find it funny. They say, sis, same, I'm also broke, something like that. So people just find it funny, but don't you think it's also in a way normalizing being a bit financially irresponsible? Well, I know we can generalize because the situation would be different for different kinds of people. But then the fact that sometimes we feel like maybe we can fix it a little bit, right? I'm going to show you this also. So here, so people today, the 25 years old people, when they think far ahead, when they think when they're 60, they want to retire, and then they even think of retiring in a beach, in the province, in a farm, and all those things. But the reality tells us, statistics show us that it's really not the case. There's a lot of people beyond 60 who still work, who are in debt, or sometimes even make their children their retirement plan. It's kind of a norm in the culture here. So I think this is something that we can change in the generations going forward, because it wouldn't stop if we still do it. The next generation is going to do it, the next one, the next one, the next one. So I hope this is not something we pass on to the next one. Okay? So since we're young, I heard you guys mostly are like 17, 18, 19, 20. So we have a lot of time ahead of us. It's good that as early as now, we become more aware of it. So we have time to actually act on it. I don't expect you guys to be suddenly tomorrow you're gonna be investing in the market already. Suddenly you're super financially responsible. You have this expense list. You have all these things. I don't expect you to do that, but I hope we plant some seeds in your head. So for when you're starting to work already 5, 10 years down the road, hopefully it will take a year long. Hopefully na we have this in our heads now. Now we need to be financially responsible. I'm gonna show you this. Do you know this guy? So Allen Iverson, the basketball guys would know him. So he's an NBA legend, but is also a person who burned through $154 million. Is that a lot of money? That's a lot of money, right? So times 48 mo pa for it to become in peso. So that's a lot of money. But he managed to burn through it. But he's not alone. There's a lot of people who are like that. The best athletes, the best boxers, basketball players, and everyone. But they managed to become broke even when they were earning a lot. So what does this show us? So money doesn't really choose. It doesn't matter whether you're the best basketball player, whether you're the best painter, you're the best engineer. It doesn't matter kung ikaw pinakamatalino. So it means it's not enough that you're just matalino, matapang, and all those things. You need to be financially responsible. I think this goes beyond kasi minsan as UP students, natatakot tayo to pursue our dreams na, kunwari, you're offered a high-paying job versus this one na you're gonna serve the country. Natatakot tayo to take the higher-paying job kasi it feels selfish. But then we need to always remember that you need to be up there so you can pull other people up. The more you climb, the more capable you are, the louder your voice becomes. The louder your voice, the more impact you can give to more people. Just make sure you don't become greedy when you're up there. But then money is also a tool so we can reach more people. That's why we're really striving for this financial independence that we're talking about. It's not just a buzzword, it's a tool that we can use. Okay? So the next one, stocks, why not? Well, you can buy stocks first that does 500, 1,000, 2,000 pesos. For other investments like real estate, you cannot buy a piece of land for 2,000 pesos, and it's hard to flip. It's hard to find a buyer for this. How long does it take to really sell a house, right? So it takes a few months or even a year. But if it stocks, it's just in a snap. It's always a liquid market, and there's always buyers and sellers doing it for you. And the other main reason why we also like stocks, because versus other asset classes, it's already been proven. It doesn't matter where in the market we are. Like today, the market is pretty much down because of the pandemic also, but then statistics will show you this chart is from 1926. So in the long run, pikit mata ka lang, stocks really outperform any other classes in the long run. So this is very important, especially with inflation. For example, the same 150 pesos that you buy, that you use to pay for the two-piece chicken joy in January will not be enough for that same meal in December kasi may inflation eh. It always erodes the value of our money. So we need to find a way to at least beat inflation. And the stock market is one of that. Okay? So we move on to the next one. We move on to the what. What really is the stock market? So the stock market is generally a piece of a company. It's a piece of Ayala, it's a piece of Meralco, Jollibee, and your SM. The familiar companies, the companies we see out there. So how do people really make money from them? Why would I buy a stock of Ayala? What really is it? Kunwari, I want to be a company. And today, my company, SMs and Ayalas, they need 2 billion pesos for that. So my company is worth 10 billion and I need 2 billion more. So what I do, I sell the 2 billion worth of my company to the public. So public, give me 2 billion pesos and I'll give you 20% of my company. That's like the stock of my company, a share of that, okay? It's a piece of the pie. So you guys own 20%. And then I use that 2 billion to expand, to build more malls, and to earn more money. So when I earn more money each year, for example, my earnings, my bottom line earnings, for example, I made 1 billion pesos in earnings today. Because of the additional money you gave me, I was able to expand more. So each year, my earnings increase by 20%. In time, the value of my company also becomes bigger. For example, the 10 billion initial value of my company after 5 years becomes 20 billion. That means you also made money. So what's your initial investment? Kunwari, general public. Your initial investment was 2 billion pesos. But then after 5 years, when we doubled the company into 20 billion, your initial 2 billion is now 4 billion. So that's the main concept of it. So as these companies grow, the value of these companies also become bigger, and the price of the stock that you initially bought, it also goes up. Okay, that's the first one, price appreciation. The next one would be the dividends. For example, my initial 10 billion peso company that earns 1 billion peso. Okay, that's like 10% of the value. So that 1 billion peso, not everything naman I use to expand for capital expansion. Some of it I give back to my owners. Kasi what's the point naman of owning a company if you're not earning anything from it, right? So these companies usually give back a portion of their earnings. For example, that 1 billion that I made, 50% goes back to expansion and then 50% goes to the owners. So that 500 million is shared by all the stockholders. Okay? So that's the two ways we make money in the stock market. All right? So the next one, let's compare it to other investments. A lot of people, the default is actually putting your money in the bank, time deposit. So this is an example. Time deposit, 2.2% is already a really high rate. Usually for preferred clients, it depends on the season, but let's say 2%. So what these companies do, a company like BDO, they will get time deposit from a client who has money. Kunwari, you have money, and then you need 1 million. I get 1 million from you. So BDO pays you 2%. But then there's this other person, another person who makes a car loan or a business loan who needs 1 million peso. So BDO lends out to them, but not at 2%. They lend out at 8%. So that margin, that difference, that 6% difference, that's the income that goes to BDO. So instead of getting that 2% and making the bank rich, why not just buy the bank? That in the long run, it really makes more sense to just buy the bank, then do a time deposit. All right. The next one would be property versus stocks. Well, number one, property can be, especially if you're not diversified, it can be a hit or miss in some cases. For example, you buy a corner lot in Diliman or somewhere there. It's very possible na maka-jackpot ka that it becomes 2 times or 3 times, but it's also possible na malasin ka na after a few years, the price still doesn't move, and worst comes to worst, you can find a buyer for it. So it's very possible when you just own one lot. But then if you buy a property stock like SM Prime, Ayala Land, this is very much diversified. Baguio, Davao, Cebu, they're everywhere and they're very liquid. For this stock, these big companies, they always have buyers and sellers. So it's easy to get out when you need money. And in the long run also, the return is higher in general. Okay, so that's just the difference. And here, so in general, the fair price of a stock should track the earnings trend. So for example, your Jollibee, the more Chicken Joy they sell, the more they make money. The more they make money, the higher their value will be. So in general, that's supposed to be the trajectory, but the world is not perfect. So it's not just really the earnings that moves the stock market. The stock market is moved by these buyers and sellers who actually buy the stock. And these buyers are human beings. And human beings, sometimes it's possible that we're not very logical. So it's also moved by the perception, the emotions of these people behind those computer screens clicking buy or sell. So even for a company with stable earnings, the stock price can really go down. The stock price can surprise you, and that's a very normal thing for the stock market. So do not be surprised if you see prices going down, going up, and doing all these things when the company is doing well, because it's normal in the stock market, okay? And that's also the beauty of it. So now we proceed to our how. It's what we've been waiting for. The how, there's a lot of things in this how, but this is the slide that I want you to remember. I want you to remember this. The most important thing here is knowing who you are. There's a lot of ways to make money in the stock market. There's this day trader here. We have 40, 50 traders here. Our sister company is CDS Global. So what they do, it's 50 traders, what they do, they just trade all day. Day trading. So it's usually a few minutes, a few hours. So buy, sell. That's really their day job. So sila yung nasa bandang right. That's the short-term traders. But then we also have a lot of people, which I will teach you. This one is the long-term trading. A lot of people do this. So that's passive investing and active investing. So a lot of them are less active in the market. It's based, some of them buy and hold, some of them hold it for a few months to years, 20, 30 years for some even. Okay? So you really need to know who you are. Even before buying a stock, you need to know your purpose. You need to set the goal. So when I buy this stock every month, what's my goal? Is it supposed to be selling when it goes up by 1%, or is it supposed to be my retirement plan, or do I sell it after 5 years? Because this can be a trap, okay? I'm going to warn you as early as now. There's a lot of people who go into a trade and tell themselves, I am a short-term trader. Know that a short-term trader cannot lose a lot of money. They're supposed to get out when the prices are against them, okay? But then, when the market goes against them, they suddenly switch. They suddenly say, long-term investor na ako. And then that's where the danger happens. When the purpose and what they actually do is different, they can fall into the trap of switching into becoming long-term investors. And then they hold the stock until it's 20, 50, 80% down. Okay? So this is what I want you to remember. So para din mas maayos yung learning process mo, especially if you're just starting out, you need to define first who you want to be. This can be helpful also. So the general profile, the general strategy that you need to do, and even the kind of person you want. If you're more risk averse, if you're more of a risky person, if you're young, if you're old, this is a good chart in order to tell yourself what kind of strategy you'll follow. All right. So if you're young, if you're 18 to 20, you can start building wealth through passive investing. Start as early as now and make it your retirement plan. But if you want to make it a side hustle or a career, you can also do day trading from time to time. Okay. So it depends on your objective, really. Okay. So next one. This is where we'll be focusing on for long-term investing. So number one would be passive investing. It looks very simple. So it's basically the concept of saving 10 to 20% of your income, or maybe even your allowance or something. And then the next one is investing it and basically letting your money work for you. So how does this work? So COL has this program. It's called EC Investment Program, wherein everything is automatic. So for example, this is what I tell people. There's an option to, for example, in BDO, your BDO automatically sends 5,000 pesos to your COL account, and COL automatically buys the same stock that you program it to every month. So for example, Jollibee, I want to buy the Jollibee stock every month for the next 5 years because I really believe in it. I love Chicken Joy. I'm going to believe in this company. 5, 10 years, people will still like Jollibee. That's my stance, okay? So 5,000 pesos every month. So it doesn't matter whether the stock goes up or goes down. When it goes down, everybody else is panicking. But I actually like it a bit more because when the prices are down, I can buy more shares with my initial 5,000 pesos. So in the long run, when the general trajectory of companies is going up, it's a win-win situation for you. And there's really not much work that you do because everything is automated. And for these companies, the general trajectory is really going up because every year there are more Filipinos being born. There are more people who want to eat Jollibee. There are more stores. So how does the sales go up? The sales go up with the volume that goes with the population growth and everything in the country. And then the next one would be the price. The price keeps on going up. So in general, that's the reason why the stock market goes up. Okay? So this is EIP. It's basically a fixed amount every month for a long period of time. So you just pick your favorite stock or mutual fund and program it to be like that. All right. So the next one, the other side would be active investing. It's a bit more advanced than the passive investing. So there are 3 steps here. Number 1 is pick the right stock. So how do I pick the right stock? Well, this is a very hard question, but for the meantime, you can refer to COLs, calling the shots. So COL usually releases a list of stocks that they want, that they like, the analysts like. For example, right now it's a pandemic. So which stocks do we like? We like a stock like Pure Gold or Century Pacific because it's less sensitive to the situations today. For example, a Pure Gold versus an SM. Which one do you think is earning more money today? So people are still going to the groceries, but they go to the malls less. So it's basically that, picking the right stocks. Next one, the step 2 is selling at targets. So if in the EIP part, they don't really sell, they just basically buy and hold. In the active investing side, they do sell at targets. So in COL, they also list down the fair value, the price target, so you can just follow that for the meantime. And then the last one would be the management of the general exposure. So if the general market, the PSE index is the basket of 30 biggest stocks in the country. You always hear the PSE index in the news and all those things. So manage your general exposure based on the market sentiment. So that's the 3 steps to active investing. So I'm going to run you through how people really pick stocks. So let's try to make it as easy as possible. So it's basically earnings trend, right? So in the case of Globe versus Ayala, in the setting of a pandemic, who will make more money? Whose earnings will be hit more? Globe, who provides our Wi-Fi at home when we're at home all the time, or Ayala, who sells the big ticket condos and all these properties when people don't really have that much spending power anymore. So the chart will be telling you which is which. The charts don't lie. And then the next one, the example Pure Gold versus SM, the charts will also tell us. The next one, these are US companies, so but it's the same. So Zoom, suddenly everybody's using Zoom. We're using Zoom right now. Versus a Ford. So Ford cars, are they selling enough cars right now? Do people really buy cars today? So what is the chart telling us? Alright? So minsan, parang medyo practical lang dapat eh. So really looking at the setting, the situation, which products are selling more, which products people will buy more. Okay? Even the last one, ayan. Before, Uber was super popular, but ngayon everyone's saying salamat Shopee. So what is it really? And the charts also don't lie. It's the same thing. Okay? So it kind of looks basic. When in fact, dapat naman talaga basic. Minsan kino-complicate lang talaga natin. Okay? So here, we don't need to super delve into this, but if you want to do more on the active trading side, I just want to show this to you. So it's not just really picking the right stocks. Picking the right stocks would be fundamentals. That's just one part of it. There's other parts also. The stuff you see, yung mga traders, sa mga memes and all those things, yung so many screens and all those technical indicators, that's the other side of it. That's technicals. But at the same time, there's also risk management, which is very important, and also following the general market sentiment. Okay? So these are the future stuff that you can study if you really want to delve into it. And then now we proceed to the next how. So how do I actually start? So I hope you're kind of convinced right now to actually start trading or even investing at the very least, or even just open an account, and maybe if you have more time next time, actually buy a stock. So I went through the same thing. I was also a student when I started investing. I got addicted to trading when I was 18. So the same thing, my mom told me, what do you know? The stock market is gambling. You don't even have money. Why don't you focus on your studies? I went through the same thing, and I'm sure your parents would be telling you the same thing. It's very good if they're supportive, but these are the same things they'll tell you. So number one, you don't know anything. That's what they'll say. But then you're sitting right here watching the webinar. You're trying to learn, and that's already a good thing. And everything's on the internet right now. Learning everything, Coursera, YouTube, everything. The books are everywhere. So there's really not much reason not to learn anymore. Okay? The next one is you don't have enough money. Well, the good thing is stocks, you can buy with, you can start opening an account with 1,000 pesos and you can buy stocks for pretty cheap. You don't need 100,000 for it. You can start small. Because at this point, you're not really trying to trade and invest in stocks for the money. It doesn't come instantly. But then, you need to build the financial skills today. If you want to get burned in the stock market, kung gusto mo gumawa ng kalokohan, if you want to make mistakes today, do it now while your account is small. So for example, you put in 10,000 pesos. Burn that 10,000 pesos if you must, but you need to learn after that. Okay? Versus if you do it when you're 30 years old and you start with 1,000,000 pesos or even 10 million pesos and then you burn the whole thing. It's better to burn the 10,000 today than the 10 million, 20 million when you are older. Okay? So you need to build skills. You need to start small, but when you scale it, dadagdagan mo lang ng zero yan eh. It's the same thing. It's the same skills. All right? Next one is focus on your studies first. Oh, this one is hard. But then UP students are good with multitasking anyway. You can do it. So here, this is just a run through on how to open an account because it's everybody's questions. So step 1, prepare requirements. Number 2, open an account. Number 3, fund. It's very easy. So number 1, preparing requirements. Today, you only need 1,000 pesos minimum. It used to be a lot even for other brokers. So dalawang samgyup lang yan. We're not allowed to go eat outside naman. So we kind of have money na. Ay, kaso wala palang baon. May baon ba kapag pandemic at home, online schooling? I don't know eh. Ayan. So it's basically a government ID in forms. It's already there. And yung TIN number, I think it's waived for students right now. So you'll be fine. You prepare the requirements and then open an account. That time may forms pa, you need to send out pa. Now it's just online. signup.colfinancial.com. That's it. And then the next one, you fund it. Almost any bank allows it. Even GCash now, I think. So it's very convenient. That's it. So tingin natin, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of hard processes that goes into it, but in fact, it's very easy. And then when you actually start, that's a question when they start opening their account. So what now? So this is my advice to you because we're more focused on active investing, right? This is the research targets and the technical guide. Both of these are in the COL website. So you just look at the research targets, calling the shots. These would be analysts. That's what they do all day. They look at companies, they compute and they compute. So we kind of trust them. Oh, we do trust them. They're really good people. So you just look at the research table, and then you look at the targets, and then you check the buy below price. And then when you see the stock price, it's below that, then it's safe to actually buy it. And then there's also a technical guide. It's pretty much spoon-fed already. It tells you buy, sell, or hold on the technical aspect of it. And even YouTube videos, everything's there. There's a whole playlist of it for beginners, navigating through your account, doing short-term trading, momentum, active investing, passive, EIP, everything is out there. All right. And these are some extra resources. Maybe you can check it out. So for beginners, these are the ones that I actually advise you to read. So on YouTube, the basic videos. And for trading books, there's this one Philippine book. At least it's on a Philippine setting. They talk about Philippine stocks, so it's kind of nice. And then for books, especially when you're doing full-time trading, these are my favorite books. But then most of them US setting, but that's perfectly fine, okay? And then, so these are additional stuff. Tapos, digital learning. So this is an example. This is my wallpaper sa phone. This is old, but it's still my wallpaper. So for guys out there, so yung wallpaper nyo is not a picture of your boyfriend or your girlfriend, especially if you're single. So just put that on your wallpaper. It's just stocks. So single ka naman, at least you try to make money so life gets better, okay? Kung malungkot ka, mag-stocks ka na lang so you will forget you're single. Okay? Pwede na yun. And then, here's one tip. Since we're always at home, we're just scrolling through Twitter and Facebook every day. What I do, kung ano Facebook, I get the financial sites, the learning sites. So I go to Bloomberg Business World, PSE News, and then you just right click and see first. So when I scroll through my Facebook, it's not selfies, it's not rants, it's not toxic people. So they're mostly news about the stock market. So even there, you can tweak your lifestyle for you to learn more. Even on Twitter, follow the right people and you'll learn better. All right? So Yeah, that's pretty much it. I tried to make it quick, but this is something I want you to remember. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Alam ko, minsan nakakatamad. It's not, hindi naman instant yung pera. Bakit ko gagawin? Nakakapagod talaga minsan. Wala namang madali eh. So, why would I do it? Pwede naman ako magpakatamad eh. But then, always think far ahead. 5, 10 years down the road. Always do something na your 30, 40 your old self will thank you for. And when you do things today, you always ask yourself, is my 12-year-old self proud of me? So it's basically that. Okay? Yeah? That's my talk. And then this is a bonus activity. I hope you really do it. I won't check it. I'm not your professor. This is not graded. But then I hope you do it for yourself also. If you don't make a stock market account right now, that's perfectly fine. But I want you to do this. So if you like Animal Crossing, you choose Nintendo. That's okay. If you like Zoom, you think in the next 5 years Zoom will fly, you can choose that. So think of 5 listed companies and then note down the current stock price. What is the stock price today? Yahoo Finance, everywhere you can use it. It's just a Google search. And then you write down why you like it and why you think it's going to do well in the next few years, okay? 5 stocks. And then schedule a 1-year email to yourself. I use Gmail Boomerang, or is it? I don't know. Just use any program that you can use. So schedule a 1-year email to yourself. And then you can see your hit rate then. So if 1 year from now, kung lahat yan lumipad, you really need to start investing already. Okay? So that sums up my talk. I hope you learned a lot and I hope I shared pretty much useful stuff and I hope you start investing soon. Okay? That's it.